For the first time in this playoffs, the Pacers have lost a game 5. The Knicks kick their butt for 48 minutes. What went wrong? The starters were terrible. Tyrese Haliburton was not good enough. Key changes to make in game 6. We'll get to all of it today on the Locked On Pacers podcast.
You are Locked On Pacers, your daily Indiana Pacers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What up, y'all? Happy Friday. Congrats. You made it through the week, and welcome into another edition of the Locked On Pacers podcast, where we, of course, talk about the Indiana Pacers. As always, my name's Tony East. I cover the team for Forbes, and today I am pushing through. My voice is gone. It's very late. I couldn't do this in Madison Square Garden. I ran out of space. I ran out of time, and the Pacers stunk. Oof. Maybe their worst game this entire postseason. Cavs game 3 was pretty rough. Parts of Bucks game 3 was pretty rough. But this one was a goofy one for the Pacers, where it was truly the starters, specifically that lineup altogether, that cost the Pacers in Madison Square Garden their first road loss since the first round. A lot of players need to be much better in game 6. Rick Carlisle said it earlier in the series. Steve Nash got it in his head. When a team wins, it feels like they'll never lose again in the playoffs. When they lose, it feels like they'll never win again. This one was tough for the Pacers, and they have a lot of introspection to do. The Knicks came out way better, 9-3 immediately. Pacers have to take a timeout. Jalen Brunson kicking their butt with a ton of easy points early. His first 6 for the Knicks, and it never got better. So much to talk about with this one. The Pacers starters having this rough game. They didn't ever get any juice flowing at all. Cat and Brunson both going at the same time, what the Knicks actually changed, what the Pacers need to do better in game 6. So much to dive into. For the first time, the Pacers in this postseason will be playing a game 6. They are fortunate that it will be at home, and they are fortunate that they are the team of response and have been very good at responding to these moments. They have not lost 2 games in a row since March 10th, and they need to respond because they stunk. They flat out stunk, and they know it, right? It doesn't take a genius to look at a 111, excuse me, I almost just said 111 to 94 score line. See everything that went wrong for the Pacers. Bennedict, Mathurin, 23. No one else with more than 15. Only 3 double-digit scores for the Pacers. Every time it seems like they play their best, they have a lot of balance. The ball movement's there. Lots of guys are stepping up. Today, I felt like the opposite. Almost nobody stepped up. And these players both played moderately well to break out of the situations that the Pacers were put in. But you guys have listened to this podcast enough to know that when a game happens and Siakam and Mathurin are the Pacers' leading scorers, they are good in situations where they can score in a slowed down situation where the game's all gooked up and not going the Pacers' way. However, that usually means the game was not played in the Pacers' style. This one was not at all. The leading topic for a lot of people was Tyrese Haliburton's play. After the game of his life, best postseason game he's ever had in game 4. Best game he's ever had, period. 2 for 7, 8 points, 6 assists in this one. Not good enough. And we will get to him specifically as an individual in just a second. I thought that his game influenced the thing that I thought was the most alarming for the Pacers, and it was their starting 5 being just awful. Just awful. And Aaron Nesmith's dealing with the ankle injury. He admitted as much post-game that he's not 100% there. He had really short stints throughout the game. He only played a little under 16 minutes in this one, period, like at all. And the starting 5 as a unit only played 7 minutes and 20 seconds. The Pacers lost those minutes by 10 points. They went terrible. They couldn't stop the Knicks starters. They couldn't score at all. This was an offensive loss to me, but that group couldn't defend either. And Haliburton is the biggest part of this because he is the head of the snake. So that is where I think this is a Haliburton discussion, even though the story of the game to me was the entire unit really struggling. When Haliburton can't play the way he wants, everybody uses the word wrong. And he said it on the record. This isn't my opinion. This is his opinion. I agree with him. Everybody says Tyrese Haliburton needs to be aggressive. And they always point to his shot count and the record and all this stuff. And like, there's something to that. But when you ask Tyrese Haliburton about being aggressive, he doesn't see it that way. He sees it as getting 2 feet in the paint. When he can do that, he can get shots he likes. He can get his teammates shots they like. And the Pacers offense flows the best. 7 shots is not enough. I'll admit that. But I thought that was the more concerning part of this game, is that the Knicks had Mikal Bridges playing his best game of the series to me. His defense was fantastic. He was chasing Haliburton around very well off the ball, making it impossible for him to get open. The Knicks were doing a great job away from the play, making it hard for Haliburton to get the ball moving on a catch. And Haliburton doesn't have quite the wiggle to always beat his defender every single time. And so he couldn't quite get 2 feet in the paint like ever. There's always a guy shading. The screen setters for the Pacers were not setting good screens today. All sorts of problems with this. And when Haliburton can't get 2 feet in the paint, not only is he not going to have a great night, see the stats of his we just talked about. And again, I'll talk about him as an individual more later. When he can't get going like that, it makes it harder for the rest of the Pacers to do so. And they have some guys who are capable of breaking through that. Nembhard's been a playoff riser for a lot of this postseason. Myles Turner, up until very recently, has had a good playoffs. Obviously, Siakam just had 30. Nesmith had an awesome start to the series before his ankle injury. Good players. If they're getting worse shots because Haliburton can't create as well as he does at his best, it's tough for any of them to hum, especially when the Knicks are setting the pace of the game and scoring all the time. So the Pacers are pulling the ball out of the net over and over again. So what did that lead to? Aaron Nesmith on a bad ankle, 1 for 8. 0 for 3 on 2s, 1 for 5 on 3s. Myles Turner, 2 for 3. We will talk more about Myles Turner. Oh, this was the worst Myles Turner playoff game this year. 2 for 3. 4 turnovers, 3 fouls. Andrew Nembhard, 3 for 8. 3 for 7 on 2s, missed his only 3. 6 points for Andrew Nembhard, 8 for Tyrese Haliburton, 5 for Myles Turner, 3 for Aaron Nesmith. That is 22 points among 4 starters who have all at various times in this postseason played well. Pascal Siakam scored 15. It took him 13 shots to do it. He missed 4 free throws. He at least found ways to break the game up for the Pacers. He played well with the second unit. Him, Shepard, McConnell, Bradley, Mathurin groups were good. Sometimes Jarris Walker was out there. We'll talk about him. He was pretty good. But the starting lineup together was just terrible. Terrible on offense. Jalen Brunson scored 32 points. The Pacers starters combined barely eclipsed that with 37, I believe. I hope I got that right. 37, yes. That just can't happen. That is the story of the game to me. And it stems from Tyrese Haliburton. In many ways, that makes that the story of the game, especially after the game he just had. But that's what I walked away from this game going, man, they had a lineup of reliable players who all had great moments in the series. Siakam in 2 different games. Nesmith at the end of game 1. And Nesmith many times before his injury. Nembhard was hitting shots early in the series. His defense is important, although Anunoby's a big size mismatch for him. Turner started the series off moderately well. It was terrible. The second most used lineup for the Pacers was Siakam, Toppin, Mathurin, Shepard, McConnell. That was -7. -6 with Toppin on the floor with the starters instead of Siakam. The starters were just bad. Shepard out there for Nesmith and Toppin for Siakam. That happened quite a bit for the same reasons. Siakam's always the first sub out. Nesmith was dealing with injury stuff. That group, -9. In under 2 minutes, they got outscored 2-11. Every starter needed to be better, and none of them were good enough in this game. And that's just the offensive side of the ball. The Knicks starting 5, New Look starting 5 was very good. 13 minutes and 13 seconds for Robinson, Brunson, Bridges, and Anunoby Towns, plus 18 were the Knicks. We're seeing something here in this game, and it is the worst performance from the Pacers starters, maybe in the last 2 playoffs. You could argue some of those early games against the Bucks when they just weren't ready for this yet happened. They couldn't stop anyone. Brunson, 12 for 18 for 32 points. Only took 4 free throws and scored 32 points. Karl Towns kicked their butt, 24 and 13. He only took 4 threes. He was dominating inside, punishing everybody. Anunoby wasn't even good. And the Knicks starters were fantastic. Bridges was amazing on defense. Mitchell Robinson didn't miss a shot and just is a beast on defense. That was the story of Game 5 to me. The Pacers had a chance to clinch a spot in the NBA Finals for the first time in a quarter century, and their starting 5, the guys who needed to be ready to go, were not at all ready to go. And many of them were bad, not below expectations, like actively bad players. They know it. This is hardly criticism to them. They'll play in the game. Nesmith said his mentality wasn't right. His ankle's hurting. Haliburton said to put it on him. Siakam said they got outworked, right? It was bad. Turner and Drew. And if I had to point to 2 guys, I'm really just having trouble keeping my thoughts in order today. I'm so sorry. Turner and Nembhard were the 2 to me that, I mean, Nesmith's injured, I get it, are the 2 that just like they need more from those guys. They're not getting enough offensively from Nembhard recently. 3 turnovers for him again, 4 fouls. He's a little overmatched size-wise with Anunoby. I would wonder if they'll go put him on Brunson in the next game, especially if Nesmith can't play as much or move as much like in this game. and then see if that helps their matchups feel a little more natural. And he's got to make some shots if he's not going to have the defensive impact that he can have. He had 3 steals. He's not having a terrible series, but his offense has been rough, and they need it to be better. And Myles Turner, same thing, this was probably his worst game of this playoffs, maybe the last 2 playoffs. 5 points in 24 minutes. Couldn't get involved on offense. Had some ugly turnovers. Not good. Just not good. And it all stems from Tyrese Haliburton. Let's talk about him in more detail and go through some other things the Pacers need to do better generically as a team before some bright spots they'll hope to carry in to Game 6. Before we do any of that, we got to talk about DoorDash. NBA fans, you know what time it is. Playoff season means big performances and even bigger awards. DoorDash is bringing the heat with a slam dunk deal for DashPass members during the 2025 NBA playoffs. It's called They Swoosh You Score. Anytime a player drops 50 or more points in a playoff game, DashPass members score a free 3-piece crispy tenders combo from Wingstop the very next day. Just place an order of $20 or more. Use the code Wingstop50 at checkout, and that combo is yours. Crispy, delicious, and totally free. Offer is valid noon to midnight the day after the game. Terms apply. Whatever your go-to move is the day after a game, watching highlights, be rewarded if someone scores 50 points with this deal. And if you look at delivery fees and thought there's got to be a better way, that's DashPass. $0 delivery fees. So here's the play. Sign up for DashPass to unlock this and more exclusive deals all season long. When any player scores 50 plus in a playoff game, DashPass members can grab a free 3-piece crispy tenders combo from Wingstop the next day with a $20 plus order and code Wingstop50. That's DashPass, your code to more savings, more flavor, and more ways to win. Terms apply. Back here on Locked On Pacers, thanks for making us your first listen today and every single day. Locked On Knicks, of course, should be your second listen. The first team to beat the Pacers twice in the playoffs. The Knicks have got to be feeling great about this game. The first significant big-time win for either team in the series. The Knicks actually have a positive point differential in the series, despite being down 3-2. But that's the part that matters. They're still down 3-2. There's a lot of Pacers optimism because they've been so good at responding, even though it feels like the sky is falling because they played so bad. They have not lost consecutive games since March 10th. If they avoid that, they will be finals bound. But they've got a lot to solve. And Haliburton is the front of it. Look, a lot of guys played bad, but they're getting worse shots. Of course, it's going to be easier for Nembhard and Turner and Nesmith and Siakam. And Siakam can create his own shot, but a lot of play finishers who are very good at a lot of things to get better shots when Tyrese Haliburton is at his best. We just saw it 4 days ago. Whenever this comes out, 3 days ago, in Game 4. He was amazing and had 15 assists. And to have 15 assists, your teammates have to make shots, but you also have to set them up for good shots, and he did that. That was more concerning to me in this game, is that he just couldn't get to where he wanted to go. And that's always, to me, been the biggest thing holding him back from just truly elite every night stardom, right? Because I think everybody knows this by now, that he is a high ceiling player, but among the best players in the league, the top 15, 20, whatever, he has one of the lower floors. Because of games like this, because he doesn't quite have the package of moves or agility, whatever you want to say, to always be beating inferior matchups. Right? He can get past Cat and Brunson. He does. The clip of him going, when Carlisle took a timeout, when he had Cat on an ISO on him in Game 4, right? He can beat him. He does. But it's not all the time kind of stuff. That's why he's so good on the move, and he can make these crafty passes, and he's so good at a lot of things. They couldn't get him into those situations today. That's somewhat on the team. And that's why I think Carlisle's answer is true. People always want to just point at Tyrese Haliburton and say, be better, be aggressive, drive. Like, that's one, that's not his game. 2, that's not the Pacers game. Carlisle said, I have to look at the film and find ways to help him be better because they have to see what the Knicks were doing differently. And that's what Game 5 strikes me as is different than Game 3. In Game 3, the Pacers after the game were like, yep, this is on us. We stopped playing like ourselves, and we lost. In this game, they couldn't play like themselves because the Knicks were actively better and changed the way they were defending. I thought this was the best Bridges game of the series. I already said that. And it made it very hard for Haliburton to get into the paint, period. And he was going right all the time. All of his shots in the paint were on the right side of the floor. 3 or 4 misses under the free throw line on the right side. He had 2 makes at the basket. He just couldn't get good looks in there. They were doing a really good job of showing him bodies and making it hard for him to get there. And he was getting right. He likes going right. Like, I think the Pacers can feel good about that part of it, but he couldn't do it enough. And that is credit to the Knicks. So I think this is all about good off-ball action for the Pacers, good screens, get Haliburton the ball in space. So he already has an advantage. He's so good in those moments. And the way the Pacers offense flows, that happens all the time. He's always moving without the ball, or very frequently moving without the ball before getting it back. A big problem in Game 3 is he wasn't getting it back. In this game, he was getting it back a lot, right? They just It's about the team and Tyrese Haliburton. So to be clear, I already know I'm going to get a rush of comments. Oh, not hard enough on Haliburton. He's got to be better than that. Yes, he does. 100,000%. 100,000%. He has to shoot more than 7 times. Situation be damned, right? He does. He also needs to be in a situation where he can be himself, and that was not there today, mostly because of Knicks' improvements, but also because of Pacers' issues, and they did little to actually help him ever get out of that funk. That was a huge issue today. Tyrese Haliburton's got to be better, and if he's better, rising tide lifts all boats. Lots of other players will naturally be better if he is as well. Okay, let's talk about some other stuff that went poorly for the Pacers in this game. 19 turnovers. Who is this team? The Pacers are not a high turnover team normally. They were so much in this game. Many guys with multiple. That's fine. 4 for Turner. He had some rough moments trying to handle it in traffic. 3 from Nembhard. Got to be better there. He had an off-target pass or 2. 3 from McConnell. He needs to be better in that department. The bench was largely pretty good in this game, I thought, though. 2 from Ben Mathurin. 2 from Jarris Walker. And both of them just the play that drives me crazy because Jarris was great. This was his first appearance in the series. He plays 13 minutes. He made 2 threes. His defense was fine. Like, perfect audition. He probably deserves to play again, especially if Nesmith can't go for more than he's giving right now. Where Jarris sees the right play. Myles Turner posts up with a small on him. No one else is on that side of the floor. He's just got to get it to him. Lazy pass goes out of bounds. Sees a cutting big. I think it was Turner. It might have been Siakam in the paint with space. Tries to lob it in. Can't get it. Right? Like he got the read right both times. That's why I've been high on Jarris as a player, as a prospect, He's just got to actually execute that stuff. His turnovers were frustrating despite a very, very good game, especially for his no standards because he hadn't played yet. Tough turnover night, 19. That's just too many, right? That comes back to bite you at some point. And when the Knicks also win the rebounding battle, 45-40, and they win the turnover battle by 4, they're going to take way more shots. Fewer free throws is a factor. The Pacers took 29. The Knicks took 22. The Knicks took 15 more shots and shot 9% better. Both of those can't happen. The Pacers have to be better at one of those things. They either have to hit the glass way harder. 11 offensive rebounds for the Knicks, 3 for Josh Hart. He was the guy to me that showed the effort difference. He got an offensive rebound in the fourth quarter. The game was already largely decided in the middle of 4 Pacers. Mitchell Robinson's been kicking butt on the glass this whole series. Cat too. They've got to be better on the glass. The Pacers do. And if they can't, they cannot turn it over more than 10 times. 19, way too many. Just way too many. And the rebounding is a part of this. Only 33s taken. They only made 10. They got to get the volume up. The Knicks are doing a good job taking away shots the Pacers like, especially in these pacey difference. Like it just keeps – that was a bad way to explain it. But when the games get slower, it's just not how it should go. 96 possessions for the Pacers in this game. That's okay. It's pretty good, but not quite the tempo when they're at their absolute best. A lot of stuff that says the Pacers – need to be faster, need to take care of the ball, need to get more threes up, need to get their stars going. That all sounds like their play style. This was the first time this series that I felt like the Knicks actually took them out of it. It wasn't the Pacers taking themselves out of it. So that is why they'll have to adjust. And that's why film on Thursday is going to be Friday, is going to be so critical for the Pacers heading into that Saturday game. Some bench units are going to have to be a little better. Shepard's defense, it's just not there. He made 2 threes in this game. The wear-down effect part of him chasing Brunson around full court's there, but the defense hasn't been there. Brunson's just scored over him. Tony Bradley got hurt in this game. He had a hip issue. Thomas Bryant, welcome back. Like, that's a new change. Thomas Bryant was fine. He missed both of his shots. There's just a lot the Pacers have to do better. They got pantsed. They got totally pantsed. They could not stop Brunson at all. After the third quarter of the game, Brunson had 30 points. The Pacers starters combined had 29. Cat had 24 and 13. He was a beast. 26 for him. The 2 stars for the Knicks combined for 56 points. The top 3 scorers for the Pacers had 49. Wasn't close. Dominance from the Knicks, who didn't even get great play from Anunoby, and who got play from their bench. Landry Shamet was getting chance. The Pacers have a lot to clean up. They had some guys perform well. They had some things they'll hope to take into Game 6. A huge game. So much more to get to close out today's Locked On Pacers. Back here on Locked On Pacers. Thanks for making us your first listen today and every single day. Whew. Locked On Thunder, your second listen. They won the Western Conference. Rylan Stiles and the Thunder in the NBA Finals. My voice is fading so fast. I will do my best to make this segment survive. Okay, two guys who got to be talked about. Maybe the only two players who actually met or exceeded expectations in this game. One is Jarace Walker, who I feel bad that I debuted talking about Jarace in the series with some poo-poo about his turnovers because he was very good. I have to take an L here. Like a lot of people have said, they want to see Jarace. Shepherd can't contain Brunson. Just try Jarace. And I've said I've said all season. To be clear, I've said this all season. But I think Jarace is a better offensive player than a defensive player right now, and I don't think his defense is nearly as good as fans make it out to be. So I didn't think that made a lot of sense as an option, and I don't think his defense was like awesome or anything. But he was additive and had size and largely moved the ball well and made good reads and made 2 threes. Very good play from Jarace, who had 6 points, a rebound, a steal, and a block. He'll have to clean up the turnovers, but certainly showed that, especially if Nesmith can't play a lot in the next game or any games going forward, he should get some burn. Just to be a skilled size kind of guy, Rick Carlisle loves that. He calls it like the next trend and evolution of the NBA is skilled size. Jarace Walker certainly has it. So good for him to play 13 minutes and play largely pretty well. Outside of those 2 turnovers that he just made the right play, made the right read, but couldn't make the right play. I think he'll get more burn. He earned it. He played pretty well. Good for Jarace Walker to meet the moment. Played hard the whole time. Just played well. And then the other one was Ben Mathurin. 2 straight great games for Ben Mathurin. His first great game of the playoffs, his 23-pointer against the Cavs. That game was already decided. This one, the Pacers got smoked. They lost by 17. So it'll feel similar in that way, and that he had 23 points in a game that the Pacers got smoked in. But they were like within 10 a couple times. Like it felt more competitive than the second half of that Cavs game 3. And Mathurin was keeping the Pacers in it for long stretches. Like he kept getting burned with the starters because he was good with that group. 9 free throw attempts. That's been huge for the Pacers these last 2 games. He has been breaking them out of these slower pace moments by being able to actually get to the basket and draw fouls. 6 for 10 for 23 points is crazy efficiency, and 9 rebounds. One of the only guys given a dang on the glass. I talked about it with Hart. Look, the Knicks have beastly big men rebounders. The Pacers are going to lose that every game just on skill. But they also have good guard rebounders like OG and Hart, and they have to be good on those perimeter guys. And Mathurin has been 9 boards in this game. He did have 2 turnovers and 3 fouls. He was +8, a team high for the Pacers, and I think he actually contributed enough to say that he had an influence on his plus-minus. His second straight very effective game for the Pacers. He deserves to keep playing, especially, again, if Nesmith's minutes will be limited. If Nesmith's more healthy, forget everything I just said about these two. Play Mathurin like 15 minutes and maybe barely play Jarace. Maybe he could steal some of those minutes from Shep, but Mathurin was awesome again and played quite a bit and deserved it. He played the most minutes off the bench by far of anybody. He played more than Turner. Like he played the 5th most minutes of anybody today. So those 2 were pretty good. McConnell had some nice-ish moments in this game, but not enough of them. Shepherd made both of his threes. I have nothing nice to say about any of the Pacers starters. Siakam occasionally got some nice shots to drop and had 3 steals and was fighting on defense. Not a great performance for the Pacers, who are playing their first game 6 of the postseason. 2 more chances to win one time and reach the finals. They know it's in front of them. And I'll be very, very curious, just generically, how they come out in game 6. Because I already said it on this show. The stat's been recited 1,000 times now. They have not lost 2 games in a row since March 10th. They're approaching 3 months where every time they lose, they win the next game. In this series, the Knicks beat them in game 3. The Pacers knew what to do better. They came out in game 4 and they did it. The Cavs kicked their butt in game 3. They came out in game 4 and won. The Bucks got them in game 3. They came out in game 4, handled their business. Regular season, same story. Well, this time they got smoked, and the Knicks made significant changes, and they lost a game 5 for the first time in this postseason. They have got to be better. So that's thing 1. Basketball-wise, can they keep repeating this? Can they come out again and adjust and have the right mentality and play like themselves and make life hard on the Knicks? Because they have a lot of the same problems. They had no answer for the Karl Towns plus defense group. Again. Every game it seems like, that seems like it should be solvable. It has not been. They couldn't stop Brunson at all. I'm not going to kill them for that. He's amazing, but they got to be better there. They had the same issues with Hart. That seems obvious they should have. They can't stop Landry Shamet. Landry Shamet was quite good. These are things that they should be able to solve outside of the Brunson stuff, right? They should be better that way. What you never know is the mentality part. I'm not questioning their mentality. I'm not saying they won't have the right one, right? They did mention today that they got outworked. By the way, someone has to be the team that works harder, right? And you always hope, if you're a fan of the Pacers, that it's your favorite team. And so when they say after the game, yeah, they outworked us. Like, if they had won and they said, yeah, we outworked them, it would look terrible on the Knicks, that in this setting that they got outworked. Like, I'm not saying that to excuse them. I just don't think that's like a crazy thing to say. Anyway, they did get outworked by the Knicks. That's bad. They have to not let that happen. The mentality part of Game 6 is different now. In Game 5, you're going in, you're riding a high, you're thinking, can we close this out? This would be awesome. The NBA Finals are right there. You're riding a high. Now you're in like fight mode, right? And I think that is a different mentality completely. Can they channel that into better play? That is what will define the next game. Because if the Knicks have won 2 in a row and they're coming back to the Garden for a Game 7 with a final chance on the line, boy, there's going to be some buzz around that game. The Pacers won a Game 7 in the Garden last year. They can do it again. They shouldn't want to have to. If they have a chance to win Game 6 in Indy, which they do, and go to the finals, they got to take advantage of that chance. And mentality will be a huge part of it. Kevin Bowen and I talked about focus and how that will be huge. It's just got to be. All right, some stats that matter in this game that I haven't even mentioned. The paint battle dominated by the Knicks, 60-34 points in the paint. Pacers could not keep the Knicks out of there. The Knicks made 8 threes and scored 111 points. They've got to be better keeping Cat away from the basket. Brunson got wherever he wanted. Josh Hart was scoring in the lane. Mikal Bridges actually made shots at the basket. He made 6 twos in this game. They've got to protect the paint better, and a lot of that starts on the perimeter. That's not on the bigs. That's on everybody. And they couldn't get there either. 34, also way too low. Got to get in the paint. That's on Haliburton, but that's also on a lot of other guys who are really struggling to get in there. 57 bench points from the Pacers should be enough to win a game like this, and it wasn't. That should have been the lead story, the points in the paint difference, but the starters were just so rough for the Pacers, who never led. 13-7 in second chance points in favor of the Knicks. Fast break points about even. The Pacers just never got a style grip on the game, and the Knicks were better. They were just way better. For the first time, a team had a comfortable win. No tight. Well, I guess the Pacers game 4 was pretty comfortable. A dominant win in the series, and now it's up to the Pacers to respond tomorrow. A short episode with Locked On Knicks host Gavin Shaw on how the series has shifted. The Knicks have won 2 of 3, and Tim and I last talked. Can the Knicks do this with 2 to go? Then after Saturday night, breaking down Game 6, win or lose. If they win, you'll be me and Derek Kramer. If they lose, it'll be me talking about, oh boy, Monday night's going to be huge. So a lot of fun coming here on the Locked On Pacers podcast. I'm sorry for the lack of energy today. I am going through it voice-wise, energy-wise, but I'll be better tomorrow, and we'll keep rolling. Thank you all so much for listening. I wouldn't be able to be in New York covering this team without your support. You can find me on Twitter at Locked On Pacers, at Tony R. East and Blue Sky under the same handle. You can also read my stories about every game of the series and more about the Pacers there. This podcast is on Twitter at Locked On Pacers and Instagram at Locked On Pacers. Thank you all so much for listening. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you very soon.